the Suez Canal, lifeline of world trade, and now a high-tension spot in a tense world, British troops lead transports to back up their government stand. Reinforcements pour into the canal zone despite Egyptian demands that all British troops get out of Egypt immediately. Egyptians who have worked for the British flee Suez under death threats from Egyptian terrorists. British Bren gun carriers patrol roads linking Suez to Cairo and the rest of Egypt. And all traffic along the way is halted at roadblocks so that British soldiers can search passengers for concealed weapons. The Tommies are thorough, for terrorism is on the march. On the canal's banks, gun emplacements are set up to assure safe movement of shipping. In ancient Egypt, a wave of violent nationalism rises to threaten world security. In the skies over Korea, aircraft carry the fight to the enemy, but sometimes one of ours gets hurt. Here, a B-26 light bomber, landing gear damaged, scrapes dirt with its props as it returns home, then hits the ground. A short time ago, the plane was over enemy territory, where it was crippled in combat. But with a rare exhibition of coolness and skill, the pilot brings her in for a spectacularly smooth belly landing. At the last instant, crewmen leap out. Emergency crews rush up, but they're not needed, as every crew member leaps unhurt out of the battle-battered bomber. It's a miracle, but a miracle of skill that happens often in Korea. It was a happy ending for Lieutenant Williams, navigator, and Sergeant Knott, radio man. Lieutenant Nelson, pilot, recalls to Warrant Officer Steele how he did it. Meanwhile, a tight formation of fighters goes on to the attack. We're riding an F-51 as another plane peels off ahead. He's letting go at enemy troop concentrations, shooting up key targets of the dug-in Reds. Another plane goes in, guns and rockets blazing, and another. They're flying as many as 1,000 sorties a day in the effort to wear down the enemy. Napalm bombs provide a flaming climax. At the Pacific premiere of Warner Brothers' The Tanks Are Coming, the Army joins forces with movie stars for a gala evening. Steve Cochran, star of the new picture, arrives by tank at Warner's Hollywood Theater. Mary ALDEN, also starred in the film, comes to the premiere in a Jeep. Hollywood has turned out en masse to see Philip Carey, Mary, and Steve in person and on screen. General James T. Roberts, commanding the famous 13th Armored Division, is a guest of honor, and Robert Stack and Claudette Thornton congratulate Edmund Gwenn on his performance. It's a dramatic military premiere for an important film.
At New Delhi, it's an impressive reception for America's new ambassador to the Republic of India, Chester A. Bowles. Mr. Bowles will succeed Lloyd W. Henderson in this post, vitally strategic in the struggle between East and West. He presents his credentials to Dr. Rajendra Prasad, India's president. Upon India's friendship may hinge the outcome of the Cold War for Asia. Chilly winds greet President Truman as he arrives in Key West aboard the Independence for a 4 or 5 week vacation. Friends welcome Mr. Truman, who will probably be doing some welcoming of his own in January, when Winston Churchill is expected to visit Washington for important talks on Anglo-American problems. After a few days of complete rest, the president expects to resume regular duties at his Florida Little White House. Japan's Emperor and Empress visit Hiroshima, 6 years after it was demolished by the first atomic bomb to be dropped on a military target. Much of Hiroshima has re-risen from the ashes, and the city is now the site of the National Athletic Meet, one of Japan's most important sporting events. Mass calisthenics are held before the royal couple, making their first public appearance since the death of the Dowager Empress.
Los Angeles, it's Stanford versus Southern California in a gridiron chiller the Pacific Coast will be talking about for years to come. That's Al Carmichael carrying for USC in the fourth quarter. Al races 36 yards to pay dirt to put Southern Cal ahead 14-7. But look what happens on the next kickoff. Stanford's Bob Mathias, far back on the 4, takes off. Bob, great Olympic decathlon champion, shows his prowess at the sprint before 96,000 fans in a game which may decide who plays in the Rose Bowl. Bob goes 96 yards to a Stanford touchdown, but the Indians still trail 14-13. It looks It's all over for Stanford as Gary Krikorian in his own end zone drops the ball. Charlie Ain falls on it for a Southern Cal TD. USC leads 20-13 with just 7 minutes left. Then underdog Stanford uncorks a dazzling finale. A pass from Krikorian to Sam Morley chalks up 28 yards. The powerful Mathias blasts his way over standing up, and this battle's all tied up 20-20. With time running out, Hugasian sets up the score. Stanford upsets USC 27-20. It's a sad, sad day for the Irish as mighty Notre Dame meets Michigan State. On their first play from scrimmage, the Spartans spring loose Dick Pannon. Look out, Dick. There's someone following you. He's getting closer, closer, closer. He's reaching via shin bone, but it's a Michigan State TD after an 88-yard run. For Notre Dame, the nightmare keeps building. Al Doro connects with Paul Decker for 11 Michigan State yards. Quarterback Doro's fine passes keep clicking into place. Bob Carey jumps high for this one. The Spartans lead 28-0, and it's not over yet. The overwhelmed Irish are completely outclassed. They pass, and Michigan State intercepts. The result here today before 51,000 amazed fans is the worst licking ever administered to a Frank Leahy team. Duckett sets up the TD as Michigan State tramples Notre Dame 35-0.